Area 210, where the dreams don't fade. From the river walk nights to the Alamo shade, we rise together through the highs and the lows. Area 210, oh, it's the life that we chose.
We're rising together on a game day Monday for the San Antonio Spurs. This is the Area 210 podcast powered by P.F. Chang's La Cantera and Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio. In the middle, we have Mike Mitchell Jr. We've got Joe Garcia producing and co-hosting today's show. We're talking a lot of Spurs, got college basketball to get into, the Oscars, lots going on when it comes to the world of sports and pop culture. Gentlemen, Mike, how you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me back. How are y'all doing today?
We're going to get in at some point to whether or not I can score 2 points against you on one-on-one. We brought that up the other day. I mean, you looked at me like, dude, are you for real? Are you for real? And then I said, no, make it, take it. And we'll talk about that as well. Joe celebrated his birthday a little bit early. I celebrated my birthday over the weekend at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, which is very nice. Lake Conroe. My birthday was on Friday, turned 49. My wife did an amazing job of being the hostess with the mostest and getting everything all organized. We're talking about, saw Bill Burr perform Thursday night in Houston at the Bayou Theater, went to this nice hotel, the Marriott Marquis, with a Texas-sized lazy river. It was very nice. We had a dinner at Lake Conroe. My parents came over, went to the museum. It was a fantastic time. Chica's family was there. It was a great celebration. I enjoyed it. And Joe, I believe you're a Pisces also, celebrated as well over the weekend.
Yeah, no, I'm an Aries baby, so actually not till the end of the month, but I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be out of town. So we celebrated my birthday early, and I'll show some pictures and stuff of what we did over the weekend. I hung out with the squad, you know, Jen, Alex, Sean, Michelle. So we're at the Gray Moss Inn for a birthday dinner. They brought out the queso. Oh, wow. On fire. I started here. I used to and then that happened. I tell you, that queso was so good. But me and Alex, man, we were shocked by the size of the margaritas, dude. I said, yeah, bring me a large. Yeah, bring one for Alex too, you know. And we thought they were going to be small. Dude, these are fish bowls. Nice. You just need the one. And then I got a steak, my birthday steak. So all in all, it was a good evening. It was good food, really good food. And then we did karaoke over at Jen and Alex's to end the night. And that was a lot of fun too. I don't think I got home till like 4 a.m. But of course, I was responsible and I got Ubered home. So I got home safe.
Joe, what did you sing?
I actually sung Portugal the Man, the Oasis cover they did, Don't Look Back in Anger. And we're singing all night, Mike. You missed it, dude. You wanted to hear me sing? You missed out.
Now, what Mike doesn't know is that I'm known in the parts of Shenandoah, Texas, Conroe, Texas, and Willis, Texas as R&B Mike.
No, God.
You know, so if it's a 90s R&B jam, my wife will say, hey, why don't you do some Keith Sweat? You know, Nobody, you know, stuff like that. It's fantastic. It's been, Mike, I've done the occasional Bobby Brown song. I've done the occasional New Edition.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you one thing, Mike. One thing that we all learned on the weekend, me and Sean were shocked, but our boy Alex, dude, he brought the heat. We put on, of all things, Vanilla Ice, baby. Dude, Alex killed it, dude. Me and Sean were in like shocked. We're like, look at our boy go. Look at our boy go.
So
Mike, what's your karaoke song, man? What do you throw down?
It depends on who's in the audience. Friends in low places, because you know, in San Antonio, everybody around there knows that. When I switch up, I always do some Barry White because I got the deeper voice. So you know, slow old school jams with the deep voice, it just seems to work out for me. If I've got some friends along, then Boyz II Men, and I play Mike so that I can go down.
I told you.
Yeah, I wasn't going to admit then because I knew you were going to make me sing it, but you were absolutely correct.
So, Joe, at the Hard Rock Party a few weeks ago to celebrate our 500th episode, I told Mike, I said, man, when I take you karaoke, we're going to do Boyz II Men. You can do the Mike McCrary part, the baby, please forgive me for all the wrong I've done. Because he has the voice, and he's now admitting 3 weeks later that, in fact, he is that guy when he and his friends sing Boyz II Men. That's amazing. That's amazing. Hey, tonight, Joe, Spurs are back in action. 6-game road trip homestand is over. Spurs went 5-1. Really, they went 5-0. Okay, if Wemby got sat out of a game, that game against the Nuggets don't count. I don't care if they were up by 20 points and blew a fourth quarter lead. That game does not count. Wemby comes back against Charlotte. They put away Charlotte. Charlotte was that one trap game. Wasn't that much of a trap game. Spurs put them away. Wemby has declared himself as someone who desires to be the MVP, not sometime in the future, but now, this year. And I find that to be fascinating because we've had all of these players over the years who've been very casual about it, very humble about who they are. Tim Duncan, David Robinson, who have won MVPs. But Wemby coming out and saying that, in fact, he wants to win the award, I think is a big deal. And Joe, if you can go onto my Twitter account, I just retweeted a soundbite that he had after the game against Charlotte, where he basically declared himself as somebody who should be in that running. And right now, Vegas odds have him as the second best odds to win the MVP, right behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. SGA barely kept his 20-point streak alive last night against the Minnesota T-Wolves. Let's hear what Wemby has to say about this because, again, I don't think Wemby's not being humble. I think he's just being honest with everybody and honest with himself. Let's hear what Wemby had to say over the weekend about wanting to win awards.
If we don't know if it's impossible, we might still do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, right now in my mind is taking great care of my body because I also want to win the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year. So, you know, I'm trying to press the gas now from now on until the end of the season, really take care of my treatment, take care of my sleep, take care of my routine, and show up for my team.
Okay, he got load managed over the weekend. That's what it was. The Spurs laid down that game. They were willing to sacrifice that loss in order for Wemby to be healthy down the stretch. He has been playing a lot of minutes. Remember, after the injury back in December and January, he was load managed to 24 to 26 minutes played. Now he's doing 36, 38 minutes played. He was gassed. He said that after the Clippers game a couple of weeks ago as well, that he was just exhausted. Mike, what are your thoughts on two things? The Spurs resting Wemby. They're chasing the 1 seed in the OKC Thunder, but they still rested him, knowing that they would lose that game and go to 3 games behind on the loss column. And what are your thoughts on Wemby outright declaring that, yeah, he wants to win the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. He wants the awards.
Well, as far as resting him, I think this is a perfect time to, if you're going to give him some rest. And we'll keep my old school mentality of load management out of this part of the conversation. But I think making sure his body is healthy. If you're in that 1, 2, or 3 seed in the West, unfortunately you're going to have to go through a good team. So you'd rather be healthy than necessarily worrying about where you land. I mean, the 2 seed might even end up shaking up to be the better position wise to get to the Western Conference Finals anyway. So that part I don't think is a big detriment. You go 1, 2, and then everybody else in the West, you know, I think they've got a 6-game or so lead on everybody else in the West. So you can afford to rest them here or there. As far as Defensive Player of the Year, listen, if he doesn't miss enough games to not qualify, he's got that, right? We can just put that one over in the bag. He should have had one already, but as long as he qualifies, MVP. I look at that as a solid 3-man race. You've got Jokic, you've got Wemby, and you've got Shai, and one of those 3 is going to win it, and deservedly so. In my opinion, those are the 3 top teams in the league, and then you can look at the Eastern Conference. But I think it kind of gets puts the team on notice. It puts them on edge. And in today's NBA, I don't think it's that bad because you have to be on the top team to be able to win that MVP. So if you're winning that award, that means your team is doing well. And it puts the team on notice. And it's like, hey, let's go out there and perform. Let's go out there and keep this thing rolling to make sure we are one of the top teams in the entire league so that our guy does have a chance to win it.
Now, as of right now, Wemby has the second best odds to win the MVP behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has 128 consecutive games of scoring 20 points or more. Yesterday, he had 4 points at halftime. They were up 15 points with a minute and a half to go in the game. What was he doing? He was shooting shot after shot after shot. After the game, comes out and says, I didn't know that my 20-point streak was in jeopardy. I didn't know. Ridiculous, man. Of course he wanted that streak to keep going. He broke Will Chamberlain's record a couple of weeks ago. Why lie? Wemby's telling the truth. He wants to be the MVP. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should have been taken out of that game. Why is he playing with a minute 15, minute 30 to go in the game if they're up 15, 16 points? It's because he wanted that record to keep going. Just say it, man. I mean, no different than Bam Adebayo with his 83 points by saying, hey, man, when I saw 60, I was going to go get 80, you know? What are your thoughts, Joe and Mike, on SGA coming out and saying, come on, man, saying, nah, I didn't know. What record? What are you talking about?
He knew, Mike. He knew. He just wanted to go ahead and extend the streak. They're just trying to play it off like he's being humble. But he knows what's at stake. And, I mean, I would say that if he continues the streak, he knows that his name's going to be up there with the greatest players to ever play the game. And he knows what's at stake with that. He wants his name to be mentioned in that conversation. So this is important for him and for his legacy. So, of course, he's going to go and get his 20. He told the coach probably, leave me in. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get
it. Mike,
listen, I'm several years removed from playing a professional game. I can still tell you which games I had what amount of points, how hard it was to get there. He knew. He 100% knew exactly where he didn't have to look up and check the scoreboard. He knew exactly where he was points-wise and how many shots it was taking him to get there. He wanted to keep that streak going. And to your point, it's a bad sound clip to come out half the time and say, yep, I just wanted to stay out there in today's game, risk injury, just so I could keep the streak alive.
Oh, I know, man. But SGA, interesting stat, had 0 free throw attempts in the first half yesterday. The free throw merchant didn't get to the line. He got to the line. Of course, his 20th point was scored on a free throw, by the way, which, by the way, do you know why he's lying? Because when he shot that last free throw to get to 20, he like did this motion in there, like, please go in. It wasn't a normal. He was praying. It was like when I go bowling and I'm trying to get that spare, he tried to will that ball into the hoop. It was the funniest thing. But SGA, I mean, he's the best player on the best team. I found it interesting because you look at those two teams yesterday. You saw Oklahoma City run away with that game down the stretch and beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are one of the hottest teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
You see them play, and I did not look at it from a Spurs fan perspective as though I feared either of those teams. They looked like they had issues. I know Jalen Williams has not been playing for a while for OKC. He should be coming back sometime soon. I know they have Jalen. There's Jalen, the better of the two, who needs to come back. We saw Memphis, who their bench was better than their starting five. It was kind of crazy. And I didn't say that in a good way. I said that in a way where I was looking at the starting five thinking to myself, wow, there are some issues there. But I'm looking at those two teams and I'm thinking to myself, man, the Spurs can go toe-to-toe with these guys because of the athleticism, because of the competitive fire of Wemby and what he brings defensively. But, Mike, who is the one team in the West that you fear the most? Because for some reason, OKC looks ripe for the taking. They just look ripe for it. And do you think that officials are looking at SGA and hearing the calls and the cries from fans and from the media that, man, that guy tries to get away with murder. He tries to flop all the time. Yesterday, he did it 3 times in the first half, didn't get called once. And guess what? The one time he did get fouled, didn't get called. Do you think the refs are wising up to SGA?
I actually think that plays into it, right? Refs talk. But I also think they're trying to ramp up for the playoffs. I think last year you saw a lot of teams kind of coasting their way through the final month of the season, and I felt like referees were kind of doing the same. They were still calling kind of ticky-tack calls, things that, you know, they let go once it becomes playoff times. And I feel like a lot of teams, the Cavs, even a little bit OKC with some of the struggles they had, I don't feel like teams were necessarily ready for that physicality of the playoffs. And so I think this year they're trying to ramp it up and they're letting some of these ticky-tack foul calls go. And you see a lot of the star players are having issues dealing with it now. I remember the Celtics game just a few days ago. I don't think Brown gets that upset typically over foul calls, but he's been getting that call all season long, and the refs are trying to prepare him. So I think teams are going to have to make those adjustments heading off into the playoffs. The good thing for the Spurs is Wemby is one of the hardest guys to officiate in the league, so he's used to getting beat up a little bit. The Spurs are used to teams trying to out-physical them. I think that'll play into them. And listen, I learned from the old Houston Rockets with Rudy Tomjanovich, once you win a championship, never count the champions out until they've been beaten, right? But I'm looking at it the opposite way. I'm looking at it as all these teams are now sitting there looking at the Spurs like, man, have they really figured it out, or are they still up and coming? And that's scary, right? Because you've got to go in every day and say, hey, this team might make these adjustments, might be able to go. Some of the issues we were seeing in the first half with the third quarters, we're not quite seeing at that level anymore. They're figuring things out. They've got a great, deep team that's poised to make a run in the playoffs. And so I still look at it as you've got OKC, you've got the Spurs, you've got Denver. I think if you sleep on Minnesota, they, with that 3-point shot, can sneak in and win a few games. But when you're talking about a 7-game series, it is going to be hard treading for anyone coming up against the Spurs.
Now, Wemby has declared himself as wanting to be the MVP this year, right? I'm looking at the odds right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. So that's what I was doing on my phone there. The odds right now are minus 900 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, I put that into it's called the American calculator to determine, like, what does that mean by percentage-wise, right? It says that he has a 90% chance of being the MVP. That's a way of saying that the MVP race is over. But why do I feel, is it me as a Spurs fan feel that this is not over? Okay, it's like Chris Daughtry, it's not over. Is it not over? Because Wemby is putting up some big-ass numbers, not only on the offensive side and defensive side. Last night watching that game of the T-Wolves and Thunder, I keep hearing that SGA is an elite defender. Dude, they hit him from Anthony Edwards the entire game. They had Caruso all over him the entire time. And it looked as though every time they brought in a score, SGA was hidden from that score every single time. To me, SGA only plays one side of the court. And the idea that he's an elite defensive player is because he's not going up against Anthony Edwards. He's not going up against De'Aaron Fox or Steph Castle. He's going up against Champagnie. He's going up against the third guy, the third shooter. And that's those distance Champagnie. What I'm saying is it's easier to guard Champagnie half the time than it is to guard De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, or Dylan Harper. It's easier to guard a third guy out there who can't shoot, or isn't that good of a shooter. Am I wrong, Mike, in thinking that SGA only plays one side of the court?
No, you're right. In spurts, I've seen him go off and have to guard an elite scorer, but it's in spurts. It's in pick and roll situations when you've got a guard switch. He doesn't have to guard the main guy typically for the full game. Jalen, as you mentioned, he's been out. I've seen him play more of an elite defender role than I've seen Shai do. And I think partly that's design in OKC. He has to carry the load offensively. You see he comes out and he's primary ball handler, primary scorer for that team, especially in crunch time situations. And it's difficult to do all that, manage a team, and play defense. Having said that, it speaks into what you're saying. There are people that we've seen through times. Kobe would be a great example. Yes, sometimes they give him a break here or there. And yeah, they'd say, okay, you go over on the wing. You're going to have to score a little bit more. But in crunch situations, good luck trying to take Kobe Bean Bryant off of the elite scorer on the other team. And I look at that in Wemby and seeing him in the fourth quarters. He is still switching hard. He's still getting out on the ball, even in the fourth quarter. They don't change just because of the situation. And then he's got a rim run. And by the way, he's got to pop back out to the 3-point line because he's one of the better 3-point shooters right now. Sometimes I'm, sitting on the sideline like, bad shot, almost like Steve Kerr. I'm like, go down. And he makes them, right? So I would agree with you. I've seen Shai a lot less have to be an elite defender. I'm not taking it away from him. Maybe he could be, but the situation with his scoring and his need to be on the offensive end, it kind of dictates their team of him not always guarding the best player on the other team.
Joe, isn't that the greatness of Steph Castle? I mean, Steph Castle putting up 20 points per game while getting under the skin of Cade Cunningham, while getting under the skin of Jaylen Brown, pissing them. I mean, Cade Cunningham pushing him to the ground, right? Jaylen Brown getting ejected. Keldon Johnson doing the nice impersonation of the official on the sidelines. I think that's an impressive thing about Steph Castle, about how he plays both sides of the ball. Wemby plays both sides of the ball. De'Aaron Fox plays both sides of the ball. Dylan Harper does as well. Luke Cornett. That's the hallmark of the Spurs, is why they're going to have a chance every time. Okay, I know you talk about how they don't have the experience, and maybe Joe was right early in the year. Maybe he was not Joe Stradamus early in the season talking about how you need to have that heartache, that heartbreak to make it to the top. right, to get knocked out. But Joe, defensively, this team that the Spurs have, that's their calling card, right? I mean, we talk about Wemby and all that, but it's beyond Wemby. It's the other guys.
Yeah, it's the other guys. You have Castle, of course. You got Harper. You have Vassell. You have Fox. You have a lot of other, let's say, you have a lot of guards, right? A lot of small ball that's being played out there, and they look great. And then you have Wemby out there as well to help kind of be that defensive anchor. And not only that, but he helps spread the floor. And I think Vassell is also that instrumental piece, that glue out there, because when he has a good game, he helps spread the floor as well. And then to top it all off, you have Champagny out there that is shooting the ball at a healthy clip from beyond the arc. You look at this team and you're like, wow, look at how good this team looks, and this is just the regular season. You're seeing them being the number 2 seed, and you're seeing the evolution of Spurs basketball compared to how it was a couple seasons removed to how exciting they are now and how energetic this team looks and athletic. And they look so fast in the open court. And you have a lot of shot makers now, guys that are able to go ahead and call their own shots, get to the rim at ease. They're so athletic and fun to watch. But the only thing that still gives me reservations is how they're going to be able to make adjustments, right? That's all it is. When you get into the playoffs, you could be the best team out there. It's just how well are you going to adjust to the other team's scheme against you? And that's the one thing that I would still have the question mark. That's the variable that people don't really account for yet, because you could say, hey, they don't have experience, but that's not the case anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they do have veteran players on the team now. This team has played together for quite some time. So we can't say, oh, they're young, they're inexperienced, they're not going to make it because of that. No, I think what it'll boil down to ultimately is how well they'll adjust to the defensive schemes that are out there. And I think that's going to be the calling card for them, making those adjustments, and let's see how far they get into the postseason. But right now, at this juncture, I'm just enjoying the ride, Mike, because we saw how they were in the beginning of the season and to where they are right now. They're probably the most exciting team to watch in the NBA. And that's why Mike? They get all those nationally televised games now, right?
Playing with all that house money. Now we're hanging out with Mike Mitchell Jr., his father, number 34 for the San Antonio Spurs, was my favorite in elementary school, man. Back in the day with Alvin and George Gervin and Gene Banks and Artis Gilmore and all those guys back in the day. I posted on Twitter the other day that your dad's jersey needs to be in the rafters, baby. I've always said that. That's not a new thing. I said this before I met you, Mike. But we're glad to have you on here. We have a super chat that we need to address in a moment, but first I want to get into something from Eric Cisneros. That's a newer name to our chat. Welcome to the show. By the way, we're not only on YouTube with 2,630 subscribers strong, we're also on Facebook, on Twitter, we're on Kick, we're on Twitch. Last week, we had one of our highest viewed weeks of all time. Over 2,500 views for the week. That's not including TikTok. I'm not TikTok, Twitter. That's not including Facebook. It was probably closer to 3,000 to 4,000 views, which was amazing, man. But he's saying on here, it says, morning, gentlemen, the Spurs have the third easiest remaining schedule. Meantime, the Thunder have the 10th hardest the rest of the way. How do you see the season unfolding, Mike? Do you think we have any chance in the world of catching OKC?
At the beginning of the season, I would have said no. Right now, the way teams are playing, OKC is playing some of these games that I think should be a blowout for them, or they should win handily. They're not quite, or they're letting teams hang around. So there's a chance, right? As a coach, are you pushing for that? Do you really want the number 1 seed, or do you want to go in healthy, right? If you're playing and you're at that 6-7 spot, are you playing for that 6 seed so you can skip the play-in tournament? Absolutely. But when you're talking number 1 and number 2 in the West, I'm not sure it's worth it to make that push. Are there enough games for them to overtake OKC? 100%. Are they going to try to, or is OKC going to let off the gas enough to allow the Spurs to creep in there? I just don't know if that's going to happen at this point. I think a couple of those load management games, if they'd have won those and you're sitting there and it's a half a game behind OKC, then I think you make that push. But 2-3 games, I'm not sure you make that push. If it happens and it opens up, I think the Spurs will definitely take it.
We're looking at the standings right now. The Spurs are 3.5 games behind OKC, 3 games in the loss column. Again, the Spurs do have the tiebreaker. So they just got to tie OKC to overtake them. But look at that stretch there between 3 and 6. Just basically a game and a half separating the Lakers, the Rockets, the Wolves, and the Nuggets. It's interesting when you look at this development here, because I don't see any of these teams really doing well against the Spurs. I know Joe earlier on, before the Spurs went on their tear, was like, hey, man, you got to watch out for the Clippers. You got to watch out for Golden State. You got to watch out for Portland. Got to watch out for Phoenix. And now I'm thinking to myself, nah, dude, those guys aren't going to beat the Spurs 4 out of 7. They might steal a game at the Frost, but then the Spurs will steal one back. I don't see any of those teams. But then I'm looking at Minnesota, who had been hot. I saw them play OKC last night, or the early game on Sunday, the Sunday matinee. Was not impressed. Denver almost lost to the Spurs when Wemby wasn't even out on the court. Rockets don't have a point guard. And the Lakers, I'm sorry, are not that good.
The frauds, Mike. The frauds.
I kind of feel like there is a top tier of teams, Spurs and Thunder, or Thunder Spurs, and then there's everybody else. Like beforehand, I thought the Spurs are in the tier of the Lakers, Rockets, T-Wolves, and Nuggets, right? We're in that tier. And now I don't see it that way. Mike, am I wrong, or do I just have my silver and black Spurs goggles on?
I don't think you're too far off. I'm going to throw Denver into that mix, and I'm going to tell you, they were missing Aaron Gordon for a long time, and he makes a big difference on that team. And that team already has the experience to know they can be a 3, 4, 5 seed and still get to where they want to go. That's the only reason why I'm going to throw them in that tier, even though they're a little bit further down in the standings. And it's exactly what you both of you gentlemen just said. I don't trust the Lakers. I don't believe in what they've got going out there in LA, and the Rockets. They're glaringly, obviously, point that you just made. It is ridiculous to anybody that watches them. They need a point guard bad. That team is super talented. They've got length at every position. I think I saw something the other day. It's like 6'8" and above. They're starting, and they can switch 1 through 4. That team has talent, but you don't worry about them because in clutch situations, if you can get the ball out of Durant's hands, which the Spurs can do, then you don't worry about them, right? Because he's their shot maker come the fourth quarter. So I say OKC, Spurs, and then I can't overlook the Nuggets just because of all the adversity and their knowledge on how to play in playoff basketball situations.
Now, famously, this past January and February, you saw the New England Patriots just cruise their way into the Super Bowl, even though they weren't necessarily the best team in the AFC, but they just had a great path. If the season ended the way this is right now, the Spurs pod would be Spurs, Lakers, T-Wolves, Suns to get to the Western Conference Finals. Meantime, the other side would be OKC, Rockets, Denver, Clippers. I'm sorry. I'll take the way that the Spurs are lining up right now, because I don't want to see the Clippers, because Kawhi Leonard at any point can just go off. And then you see the other teams out there like the Rockets and Nuggets who can get kind of feisty from time to time. So if it can end this way, I'd be happy. Spurs back in action tonight. So we all got to get our nap in today and tomorrow, because we have a 9 o'clock tip-off tonight against the Clippers. Another game tomorrow night, 9 o'clock tip-off against the Sacramento Kings. Then the Spurs come back home for a game or two. Then they go on the road. Mike, I need some financial advice from you. I'm a financial guy myself. I'm a financial advisor. Been doing it for 20 years. Mike, my wife and I bought tickets to go watch the Spurs and Miami Heat play in Miami. We're going to go visit our daughter over there in Miami. She's in medical residency over there, right? She's doing her stuff. She likes to have us go visit every few months or so. We bought 4 tickets for $1,200, right? 14th row, center court. Good seats, right? I typically wait to the last minute. This was before we bought these tickets before the Spurs went on their tear. 4 tickets, $1,200. They're now going for $950 a pop. After the Spurs have done so well and Wemby doing so well, do we go to the game or do we sell the tickets?
How bad do you want to go to a game in Miami? Because I'd be leaning towards selling those tickets.
I mean,
listen, those are some memories, though, that you'd be creating down there. So I don't know. Those memories might last a little bit longer than the money might. But, especially knowing you can get some tickets here, I might be like, sell those tickets down there.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Again, Spurs back in action tonight. Kawhi Leonard, I said his name. He's like Beetlejuice. You say his name 3 times, he just appears. But the he who shall not be named, number 2, Joe. I mean, Spurs are big time favorites in tonight's game. I believe 8.5-point favorites on the road. Why is it that whenever I see Kawhi Leonard, I just get scared? Because when he has it going on, he's a top 4 player in the NBA. When he has it going on, and this is a team that is 34-33, so they don't suck. They've won 7 of the last 10 games, so they've been getting a little bit hotter. They've solidified themselves as the 8th seed in the Western Conference. Very little chance of getting into the top 6. Maybe they can catch Phoenix in the standings there. But, Joe, I look at this game, and I think to myself, this is the game the Spurs should win. 8.5-point spread. But is this a trap game, Joe? Because that's you're famous for calling the trap games. Is this, in fact, a trap game?
I don't think it's a trap game. I think Kawhi is just you look at Kawhi and you look at the Clippers, and the Clippers and Kawhi are kind of this team that's kind of in the hunt still, right? And it's attributed to how well Kawhi has played this season, right? And you can feel the way you want to as a Spurs fan about him, but the one thing you can't deny, he's had one of his best seasons as a basketball player, whether it be with the Spurs or with any other team. With the Clippers right now, he's been on a tear. And I think because he's been playing so well, it keeps those Clippers within striking distance, right? In that competition. And they're playing decent enough basketball to be a problem. But ultimately, they're not as deep as the Spurs. So I do think that the Spurs are going to be able to dispatch the Clippers. Even if Kawhi goes off and has a 40-point game, it doesn't matter because you still need for the, let's say, your teammates to contribute in some form, in some capacity. But the Spurs are just a deeper team and they're a better team. And I think Kawhi knows that as well.
Now, is Kawhi hurt again? Because everyone's on the chat saying that Kawhi might be hurt again. So let's take a look at that.
He's almost always hurt.
He's a game-time decision. He's a game-time decision with an ankle injury.
Yeah, and more than likely he's going to play. I mean, he's been playing. I would expect him to play. But ultimately, I think the Spurs are just going to be able to win this game. Is it going to be one of these games where Spurs blow the Clippers out by 30? No, absolutely not. I don't think so. But I think they'll be able to go ahead and dispatch them by at least 10 or 15.
We got 2 super chats lined up, Joe. Money talks, baby.
Yeah, we're getting stacked up on the super chat. So let's go ahead and address them, Mike.
Money talks. Here comes the money.
Tex-Mex Frank with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much for the support. Says, happy belated birthday, Mike and Joe. Howdy, Mike Mitchell. He says, may I get an old man grito? Please go, Spurs, go. Oh, we're talking about the original one, the OG one.
OG. We'll go ahead and give him that one.
Presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
I just feel it in his soul. Mike, did you feel that? I mean, do you have like goosebumps? Your hair is set up on your arm.
That one.
I mean, man, that guy's gone through some stuff.
Yeah, we also got another incoming super chat. This one's from Jason Garcia.
Money talks. Here comes the money.
He doesn't like super chats being buried. He says, Mike keeps talking about these tickets. Just sell them already. Get it over with, and the super chat will be buried. Hey, man, $3,000 goes a long way or $4,000 goes a long way in San Antonio. But in Miami, what does that get you? Dinner and a couple of drinks? So, very nice. Very, very, very nice. We were talking earlier about Wemby being the not as humble as Tim, and I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. He wants the awards. Last night was the Oscars, right? So the big winner, well, one of the big winners was the movie Sinners. Michael B. Jordan taking home the prize for Best Actor. He was amazing in that movie. It was a great movie. It also won Best Adapted Screenplay. Great movie. Michael B. Jordan beat Timothée Chalamet, who has been nominated 3 times for Best Actor. He's the youngest person since Marlon Brando to be nominated for Best Actor 3 times, and he's 0 for 3. He was basically runner-up last year, runner-up this year. And he is somebody who's a big sports fan, by the way. I don't know if you've seen Timothée Chalamet on ESPN talking college football, but the guy's a savant. He's an encyclopedia of sports knowledge. But he has gone off and said that he wants to be known as the greatest actor of all time, and the only way he can get there is he racks up awards. I am now going to call Victor Wembanyama, the Timothy Chalamet of the NBA, or maybe Timothy Chalamet is the Victor Wembanyama of Hollywood. I don't know what it is, but I like the mentality, man. I like the idea of, yes, I want to get these awards. I like the idea. Why would you not want to? Why is being humble a virtue? Sometimes you have to go out there and say, I want to get this prize. I want to win this award. I go in my line of work. We go for awards. I won an award in 2019. It was a from Lincoln Financial Group. Damn straight, I wanted that award. I let it be known that I wanted that award. So, Mike, are you okay with even Hollywood having a superstar coming out and saying that the Oscars mean a lot to him, that the BAFTAs mean a lot to him? No different than Wemby saying that he's okay or he wants to win these trophies because, again, Kobe won them, Duncan won them, Shaq won them. He wants to be Jordan won them, Kareem did. He wants to be part of that legendary class of individuals.
Listen, there's nothing that says that you can't win individual awards and still be a great team player. And I think that's the issue, right? A lot of times people get caught up in, well, if I say this publicly and I don't win, how am I going to be perceived? Or if I say this publicly and my team doesn't win, how will I be perceived? Will I be perceived as not being a team player? I actually love it because I'm going to tell you something. In those locker rooms, whether they're saying it out publicly or not, those guys want to win those individual awards, whether it's for the financial kickers that they will receive, whether it's because growing up, watching it, seeing their favorite player win it, whatever it may be, they want to win those individual awards, even if they're coming out saying, oh, it's about the team. 100% it's about the team, but you also can win those awards in order to get it. I love it on both sides. It means something to these actors when they're saying, hey, I want to go out here and I want to win this Oscar, right? It's showing that they care about it. They're trying to work on their craft. Why wouldn't you want somebody like that? Because it's going to make the movie you're seeing better. And it's the same thing on the court. When you've got a player that's being driven out there for team success first, but they also want individual accolades along the way, they're going to do what it takes to make sure they're an elite player because that's the only way you can win those awards and your team can have success. I love it.
Now, Fake Killer comes out to us in our chat, powered by PF Chang's La Cantera, and says, great comparison, all caps. Mario Cavazos comes out in all caps saying, shut your mouth. Don't curse Wemby that way. Take it back. Why is it controversial? Why is it an insult to compare Wemby to arguably the greatest young actor in Hollywood right now? Because back in the day, it was about Brad Pitt. It was about George Clooney. It was about Leonardo DiCaprio. And I know they get nominated from time to time. But really, the best young actor in all of Hollywood is Timothy Chalamet. It ain't even close. That Bob Dylan movie he did was great, by the way. I think it's a great comparison because it's about the mentality. It's about that they think about it in career terms. They don't think about it like what I'm going to do this year. They say, I need to do this and this and this year because I want to amass this. That's all said and done. There's those great graphics that show Kareem versus Jordan versus LeBron versus Duncan versus Magic versus Kobe that show the number of rings they have along with the number of MVP awards they have and finals MVP awards they have. It matters. If Wemby's going to be considered to be an all-time great, guess what? He needs the awards to back it up. My problem with the race between SGA and Wemby is this. SGA was already on second base when the game started because he was the MVP last year. It reminds me of college football. Whenever they have the rankings come out, why do they do preseason rankings? They do preseason rankings in order to what? Sell magazines, sell newspapers, get clicks. UT was ranked number 1 in the nation before the season started last year, and then 3 weeks later, we're not even in the top 25. If you did a first ranking in week 6 after 5 or 6 games have been played, you get a true measure of it all. But everybody in their mind has been like, SGA is the favorite. SGA is the favorite. Why? If you don't begin your MVP talk until February 1 and see what's there, you would see that Wemby is, in fact, the best player in the NBA because why? He does it on both sides of the court. He's a baller and an all-star level as an offensive weapon, now shooting over 36% from 3 for the season, career high. He leads the league in blocks, and those blocks keep on getting higher and higher and higher. And he's the best player by far in the NBA on the defensive end of the ball. Right now, minus 1,400 odds to win the Defensive Player of the Year, which calculates to be in a 94% chance of winning the award. Really, only injury, knock on wood, would prevent it. He's going to get that award. But I bet you if they didn't talk about the MVP award from day one, Wemby would be considered to be that guy. But I think so many sports writers had it ingrained in their head that SGA was the favorite, and they make it seem like it's a race. When it's not a race, it's like what it was. It's a compilation of the year. What are your thoughts, Mike?
I think that does play into it, right? And you've got to realize that you've got people voting on these awards, and those voters watch TV, they read the newspapers, they scroll through their phones, and they see it, right? And so you can't get saturated. And if you're a team, you want your guy to win those awards, so you love it when they put those things out. And when they sell those tickets and they sell those magazines and they get to see your guy on the cover, it does great for him, but it does great for your organization. Those jersey sales go up, right? Those attendance numbers go up because people come from out of town just to see this player. And I think at the end of the season, it does come into play. It does come into factor. And just for the reasons you were saying, because you've seen so much of this player and you've heard them so often be called the MVP, the reigning MVP on an MVP type of season. And it does kind of get into the mentality of, oh, this might be the MVP. When you step back and you look at it, the only thing that I would say that should hurt Wemby in that discussion is the fact that his team has been able to weather the storm in places without him. Now, that's not saying OKC hasn't done very similar, right? Because they've got Chet, they've got other players, they've been able to do it. But some people might say that he's got the supporting cast might be a little bit better or more consistent throughout the year and have had less injuries. And I can see that. But to the point that you just made, when a guy's playing both sides of the court, they should get the recognition from zero. Unfortunately, we don't live in that type of society, and people have to do something early. There has to be something for people to talk about. Even these forums like what we're on right now, there has to be something out there for people to talk about. And at the beginning of the year, they've got to roll with what they saw last year. And so that's why you hear Shai's name MVP so much at the beginning of the season.
You got to talk about somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice right now, the flex games coming out, Spurs are more and more on nationally televised games. They're more on the Peacock like they are tonight, Amazon Prime, they're on ESPN. And there's a reason for that because people want to see the Spurs. People want to see Wemby. Who they're not going to see tonight is Luke Cornett and Dylan Harper. Both are out tonight's game. Dylan Harper with a right calf contusion. You have Harrison Ingram's not going to be playing. David Garcia also out, but also you have Luke Cornett out with a knee issue. Rest him. Just be healthy, rest them. Don't need the full complement of players. Again, Kawhi Leonard's going to be a game-time decision. Joe, I'm looking at these games coming up, Joe, with the third easiest schedule coming on up. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the idea for the Spurs right now should be just rest your guys and be happy with the 2 seed? Or do you think they should really go and battle it out, try to get that MVP award for Wemby? Because to me, they catch OKC, Wemby's the MVP. Best player on the best team. Or do you think they should just pump the brakes a little bit and just get healthy and get rested for the playoffs?
You look and see how many games that they need, right, to go ahead and clinch a playoff berth, right? It was 8 games, right? So we've been a couple games removed for that. I think now they're 6 or 5 games away, or a combination of some of the lower seeds losing at least 4 games for the Spurs to go ahead and finally lock in a playoff berth. Now, if they lock in a playoff berth, that's a good thing. That's a good sign. You've locked in a playoff berth. Congratulations on a successful season. Now, keeping that number 2 seed is also important, but so is, like Mike had just said, Mike Mitchell Jr., staying healthy. So at some point you're looking at your team as a coach, Mitch Johnson looking at the team. And if you got that number 2 seed locked in and you got like maybe 4 or 5 games left in the season, you want your best players healthy, man. That's all I'm saying. You want your best players healthy. At some point, when do you start looking at it and say, you know what, let's go ahead and kind of pull the plug a little bit and let's just ease off, And yes, I mean, it would be, good to have a great record out there, but also it'd be good to go into the playoffs healthy with some of your best players, because that's one thing that's a luxury when you're starting to get into the playoffs. Because everybody at the end of an 82-game season is banged up to some capacity. Mm-hmm. Going in there healthy, I think, gives you an edge to go ahead and compete against some of the better teams that are in the playoffs. So it's one of those things that Mitch Johnson's really going to have to look at, Mike. At what point do you just go ahead and say, guys, we've already clinched a playoff berth. And then you have to make that decision, the tough decision as the coach. What are you going to do? Are you going to go ahead and chase OKC if OKC starts losing some games? I mean, what's the give and take there? What's the plus and minus? Plus, you might be able to catch them. The minus, what if somebody gets hurt? But if you go ahead and get that playoff berth, you should stay healthy. I think erring on the side of caution is probably the best play.
Now, Mike is the only one of the three of us who's played professional basketball. For me, there's something about rhythm, right? And having, because if you take your foot off the gas, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, it might actually be detrimental because you're used to playing at a certain high level. It's one thing to take a game or two off, right? But if you're going to coast into the playoffs right now, because of the way the standings stack up and because Phoenix has the tiebreaker over the Spurs at the moment, the Spurs magic number to make a playoff berth, top 6 is 6. The Spurs magic number to be the 2 seed in the West is 8. Provided the Spurs get that, there's 15 games to be played. Do you think that would be detrimental for the Spurs to take their foot off the gas a little bit and not be at high throttle like they've been playing so far?
Well, I think two things. When you've got a player that's leading your team like Wemby, you're not really fully taking your foot off the gas, right? He's not going to allow it. You're still going to practice hard. You're still going to play hard when you're out there. Now, Mitch has an excellent team, and they're very deep. And it's about being smart, and it's about giving your team the best chance to win, even when resting players, because you're going out there trying to win every game, no matter what. If you suit up and you get out there in the court and you're trying to play, you're trying to win. It's hard to tell a player, hey, go in the game, but play 50%, right? So the guys that are out there, when you look at the matchups and the team you're playing against and you say, okay, we're rescuing Wemby tonight, who's going to give us the best chance to win this game? The next game Wemby might play. And to your point, that helps keep that rhythm because the games are coming up every other night. So you're not going to lose a lot by sitting. And then you're going into your first playoff round, you're playing up to 7 games. So you've got a chance to get some of that back as you go in there. So I think they'll be smart. They'll rotate players. They won't just sit all 5 unless it's, last game, last 2 games. And then that's only going to give you a short window, a week turnaround, and you probably won't lose rhythm. If anything, it's something you can dust off in the first quarter of your next game. But to your point, yeah, you don't want to sit 2 weeks and then try to get into the playoffs and turn it back on because it won't work that way. And you'll be facing a deficit by the time your team is actually playing good basketball.
Takes a while to rev those engines, right? Fake Killer on our chat, powered by PF Jenkins La Catera, says health is most important. Hanover Fist says just limit minutes. Don't want them going to the playoffs cold either. Safe Space Invader says the Spurs should play right to the end. You can't have a losing stank on you going into the playoffs. I mean, that's the thing, man. That's the thing. You want to have them. You want to have the best of both worlds. You want them to try to go for the number 1 seed, but you also want them to be healthy. But you also want them to limit their minutes and not be injured and all that stuff. So it's you just let it all up to fate, man. It is what it is, man. You can't. They're competitors for a reason. They want to compete. They don't want to sit there and lose. They don't want to sit there and waste their time. They want to win. And Wemby wants the Defensive Player of the Year award. He can only miss 3 games. SGA, by the way, could only miss like 6 games. SGA had that oblique injury last month. He gets hurt. Wemby suddenly becomes the front runner for the MVP. Very interesting.
You know what?
Take.
Wemby is a different animal, man, because I was looking, at the X right now, and we had Luke Cornett, right? San Antonio Spurs player, Luke Cornett. He made an appearance on the Derek White podcast called White Noise, right? Podcast. And in there, Luke Cornett says something to the effect of Wemby stays catching bodies in practice. And I have that soundbite if you all want to hear that, Mike.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up for y'all.
You have to practice against him every day. Like, what is that like for you?
September was a tough month. I'll say that. It was like, we're playing pickup, getting in the gym, like playing like 4 days a week.
So when does the season start again?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of handoffs with shooters for the entire month of September because I was like, felt like the only way you can kind of get something going. And there was a couple plays where it was like, I made one block that was like incredible of kind of coming from like the 3-point line all the way over and shutting something down. And then I think there's one time in a transition, Steph Castle driving down, it was him and Vic. 2-on-1 against me, already not a great spot to be in. So I'm kind of like jabbing whatever, and then Steph just threw it off the backboard, and then you're just like. I was told that he made it.
My eyes were closed.
I was just making sure that The stanchion was all right. It was strong and sturdy. So it's good to know. Great job by the facility staff making sure the basket's secure.
So Wemby's out there catching bodies, his own teammates, man. He don't care, dude.
Luke Cornett, the killer of the Magic City night there the other day.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. What did you think about the NBA shutting down the Atlanta Hawks when they wanted to have Magic City night, which was supposed to happen over the weekend, celebrating a strip club in Atlanta? Did you hear that, Mike?
I did hear that story. Kudos to the NBA for shutting that down. When you think about family environments and you think about what you're trying to put on and what the NBA has done from the 80s, 90s on images and their concern and worry about what people are introduced to at these games, kudos for them for kind of shutting it down. And kudos to the players for speaking up, right? Because let's be honest, they could have easily let that fly under the radar and just go enjoy a good game and see what a kind of atmosphere happens from that. But speaking up and the NBA kind of following suit and saying, yeah, we gotta monitor what we're putting out there with us being a family-friendly environment. I think it was the right thing to do.
Not only did the Spurs stop Magic City night or Luke Cornett light the fire to stop it, the Spurs also have their draft pick, which is currently ranked at number 14. If the season were to end right now, the Spurs would have the 14th pick in the draft because we have that swap as part of the DeJounte Murray trade. Spurs next year have 2 first-round draft picks. We have our own, and we have Atlanta's unprotected pick next year. So we're just doing Atlanta wrong as often as we can. Joe, let's give some love to one of our sponsors. Which one do you want to do first, Joe?
We can go ahead and do P.F. Chang's first.
Very nice.
P.F. Chang's La Cantera, San Antonio's premier destination for dinner, date night, or happy hour. Enjoy one of their signature dishes, such as the Singapore street noodles, sesame chicken, or Chang's spicy chicken, or their infamous Chang's chicken lettuce wraps, which are delicious, by the way. You can enjoy all this while you're dining in an Asian-inspired atmosphere. And make sure to enjoy the new outdoor patio and try some of P.F. Chang's signature cocktails and drinks during happy hour, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. P.F. Chang's La Cantera is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast.
Very nice. Don't forget, they have the $8.99 cocktail specials. Now, Joe, you're the king of the cocktails, man. You had that big-ass margarita over the weekend. Which of these 8 are you grabbing, Joe?
The lychee is my favorite, man. The lychee. Anita Moco.
Which one are you grabbing there, Mike?
Off the $8.99 menu, I'm grabbing the classic margarita. I just got to get me a nice margarita. It's made with that Epsilon. I like that too. It's a good one for mixing, so I'll just go with that one.
29-year-old Michael's taking the Long Island iced tea, but 49-year-old Michael is taking the mule. So very nice. Hey, go visit Sean Quintero over at P.F. Chang's La Cantera. Tell him the 210 podcast sent you. Again, P.F. Chang's La Cantera has the ability for you to get to-go orders there. They have you can do it through Uber Eats, you can do it through Postmates, through whoever you get your delivery from, or you can go to the mall. They have parking for you at the very front. Go check out P.F. Chang's La Cantera. And don't forget, on Wednesday, half-off bottles of champagne and wine.
I have to tell y'all a funny story. Yesterday, the wife had a business meeting, team meeting at Cheesecake Factory at La Cantera, and my girls were like, hey, can we go to P.F. Chang's? And so yesterday I was over at P.F. Chang's. The girls wanted to go, so we went and ate P.F. Chang's yesterday. They were out of the black pepper fillet. I keep telling people that it's delicious.
Oh, my goodness.
Out of it again yesterday.
It is very good. Very, very, very good. You got to go check that out, man. I mean, Cheesecake Factory is great for dessert. For dinner or lunch, kind of indifferent, man. Kind of indifferent. So go to P.F. Chang's, go get the steak, and then go get the cheesecake afterwards, man. That's the best combination to do it all. But, hey, congratulations to 2 teams. One, the Brennan Bears made it to the state championship game in high school basketball, 6A. They lost the finals, but congratulations to them for making it all the way, and congratulations to UTSA's women's basketball team for making the tournament. They're going to the big dance. Now, did you see what happened? They were a losing team that won the American Athletic Conference. It's the first time since 2009. I think I have a photo on my Twitter account.
I got the video. I'm going to put the video up here as well.
Please tell me the video of them making the announcement of who they're playing, because that was hysterical.
No, it's the one where they got their ticket punched because they won the tournament. They were the 6th seed, right, going in here, and they winded up winning it all to go ahead and punch their card right into the NCAA. But you know what, Mike? I got to tell you one thing that I saw that I thought was kind of funny here. Not funny, but not really. Is the point disparity, right? DraftKings is because their first round opponent's going to be UConn. Mike, UConn is favored by 54.5 points, dude.
Okay, so they win the American Athletic Conference. This isn't the Sun Belt. This isn't the, the Ivy League. It's a legit conference with legit schools, right?
Yeah.
But they're just 2 games over 500, if I'm not mistaken. And whenever you have that March Madness, CBS, ESPN reveal of the brackets, right, the bracketology, and they show the school and everyone celebrates when they make the announcement who they're playing. When it says University of Texas San Antonio is playing UConn, the girls from UTSA look mortified. Did you see that video, Mike?
I didn't see that video. I saw the
video on.
They didn't jump up and go, yeah, we're playing it. They were like,
oh my God.
There was a face palm. Like, you had like 4 of them clapping and like 8 of them just doing this. And it was so bad. 55-point underdog. Joe, we need to put money on this game. Bet on the Roadrunners, man. That's a lot of points, man.
It's a lot of points, Mike. I've never seen anything like that before.
What's your over 90?
It's bad, dude. Can you imagine, Mike? You go in
That's insulting.
It is. You go in at the 6th seed, right? And you win your tourney. You punch your ticket to go into the NCAA tourney, and your first round opponent is UConn. Come on, man. No, Mike, they got to do better than that, bro. Come on.
They beat the number 1 team in the conference, right? Which was Rice, 54-40. I mean, they held the number 1 team in the conference down to 40 points. That's saying something. But man, have they lost a game this year by 55 points? I mean, I know they haven't played a UConn.
No, they haven't lost one.
But they made their way into the tournament. They're an average team. They beat Rice 54-40. They beat the 1 team in the AAC, Rice. They beat the number 2 team in the AAC, East Carolina. They beat the number 3 team in the AAC, South Florida. What more do you want from them? They beat the number 7, 1, 2, and 3 teams to make it to the big dance. And they're going to be treated to that with a 55-point spread.
That's
Mike?
insane.
You want to put any money on this game, Mike?
I am definitely not putting any money on this game.
So Joy-Con's asking the question, what is the payout if they pull off the upset?
Man.
Which, by the way, there was one time UTSA and the men's team played the number 1 seed in the tournament and was up 10 minutes to go or 10 minutes into the game. And we're like, yeah. And then they lost by like 80. Let me see here. Let me see.
I was telling Joe, I think I remember that game. I think that was UConn as well.
Yeah, you're right. It was.
Yes.
Oh my God, Joe. UConn. Okay, UConn 34-0 on the season. UTSA 18-5, 18-15 rather. Spread 54.5. Money line not listed. It's too high. You can't bet it. No money line.
Damn.
That'd be it's too astronomical. I mean, if they did do it, you'd probably have to get like 40-1 odds, like Buster Douglas taking on Mike Tyson back in the late.
So if you spent $100, right, and you spent, you know what, I'm gonna bet on UTSA to win it. Upset UConn. What would the payout be?
like Vegas doesn't even want the action.
Oh, no, that. But I'm saying, like, you have to think. If it's 40-1 and you spend $100, Mike, what would the payout be at 40-1 odds?
Well, okay, so just to let you know, you can bet on UConn to win this game.
Yeah.
If you want to win $100, $100, you have to bet more than 10,000 to win $100.
Jeez.
Super chat coming in from Sean, $10. Money talks, baby.
Money talks.
Go ahead and read this one, Joe.
All right. So Sean says, the hammer for my wife. It's our anniversary. He says the jackhammer. He wants me to play the jackhammer. I don't even know if I have the video of the jackhammer. Let me check. I know. And congratulations to you and Michelle, Sean, on your anniversary, man.
Congratulations, man. While you look for that, if you can look for that, Mike, we have a debate that we've had going on since the podcast party at Hard Rock Cafe the other day. We asked the question whether or not I could play you one-on-one up to 11 ones and twos. Could I score 2 points? We set the over-under at 1.5 points. Now, you looked at me because you are about almost a foot taller than me. You're about 10 inches taller than me. You've played professional ball, and I'm an old man. That being said, I did say no, make it, take it. So I can shoot a prayer of a 3, and if it goes in, I cover the spread. Mike, speak your mind on this matter, man. What do you think the final score would be if I went one? And if it's all, if you said, "Hey, I'm going to skunk you 11-0," I take it. What do you think it would be?
So that's kind of what I was thinking when you first when we were talking back and forth and to 11, and I was like, all right, that's still in my wheelhouse. Let's go for it. Then you were like, oh, and by the way, no, make it, take it. That's when it kind of changed. And I'll tell you why. Being the competitor I am, I'm going to think, all right, I kind of want to see what I'm up against. We'll give you the ball first, and we'll see just where your skill level is. You could make that shot, right?
Yeah.
If it's make it, take it, and you make that first shot, then I've got to get serious, and I've got to get you out of there as quick as possible. But when you said no, make it, take it, I'm sitting here thinking by 0.5 or 6, even if I'm playing some good defense, I'm going to start getting a little tired somewhere in there. You got no subs, right? You can't do things. And to your point, you might throw up something. You might throw up a left-handed shot that I'm like, okay, there's no way it's going in. And I just kind of let it go by, and then it rolls in. And see, that's the danger with the over-under at 1.5. You score 2 points and you've got there, right? So I don't know. You might be able to get those 2, maybe even 3 points. The ultimate goal for me is to win, control the game and win. So I can't let you get much more than 3 or 4 points. But I don't know.
I'm not getting 3 or 4. I'm letting you know. I'm not getting 3 or 4. I'm getting 0, 1, or 2. I have no fantasy or imagination in the world, in any world where it's reality based, where I'm going to get 3 or 4 points in it. I'm not. I'm just saying, I might get 0. I might get 1. I might get 2. But that's as far as I'm going to go. It's kind of like asking the question. Remember back in the day, how long could you last against Mike Tyson in his prime? It was like 4 seconds, right? I can run around for 3 or 4 seconds and then get hit once and then want to hit the deck, right?
Exactly.
I know I'm going up against a buzz, so I know I have no chance. It's not gonna be 7-7 and oh my God, it's getting tense. It's not gonna happen. Chris Gonzalez is putting the over under as 2.5.
Look at this. This was funny. They said Jimenez is UTSA, Mike is UConn, Mike Mitchell Jr. is UConn.
That's very nice.
God,
let's talk a little bit of entertainment on the other side, but let's give some love to our good friends over at Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio. Well, show me some love too.
The Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio is Riverwalk dining at its best. With great scenic views along with its amazing collection of rock memorabilia, there is something for everyone. Enjoy happy hour weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. with $8 and $10 appetizers, $5 domestic drafts, and $6 craft import drafts at the bar only. Try some of the Hard Rock Cafe's legendary steak burgers, or my personal favorite, such as the grilled salmon or baby back ribs. Make sure to visit the 3rd level and enjoy the DJ as you take in the city skyline. The Hard Rock Cafe is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast.
Very, very nice. Great place to eat. Great place to have fun. Go hang out at the Riverwalk. Amazing times over there at Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio, downtown Riverwalk. Thank you for being a sponsor of our show and for hosting our podcast party a few weeks ago. Fantastic times over there. We'll be doing an event there, hopefully in April, hopefully again in June as well. You can give me a call if you have any questions about investments or insurance. It's been doing them for 20 years. 210-508-0369. 210-508-0369. People are asking me questions about things like IRAs and things like that. You have until April 15th to make your contribution for the year 2025. If you have a question about a rollover, 401k, want a portfolio put together, rollovers, things like that, give me a call, 210-508-0369. Or as what I'm doing today at 3 o'clock, I'm helping a business owner get life insurance for him and his wife. 210-508-0369. People are saying that Mike Mitchell Jr. is being very, very, very nice to me and being very modest. Because in his heart of hearts, he knows he can skunk me 11-0. But as Rudy J had said back in the day, Jimenez is deceptively athletic.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
All 5'7" of me, baby. All 5'7" of me.
You know what? I remember I saw a video of you on Facebook and I was laughing, dude. When you were over there at the museum, you were having to do this little run.
Okay,
I put it on
this Twitter.
Interactive game.
I put it on Twitter. If you want to show Mike Mitchell Jr. how athletic I am over here.
Yeah.
So I was at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, and they have like a dinosaur exhibit there and all. That's fantastic place, right? But I wanted to go there for my birthday weekend. Take the kids, take my parents, take my wife and my sister out there. It was fun times. But they have this interactive game over here where you have to virtually win this race. And this was me in my Tommy Bahama Polo trying to run this race. And I will say this, I was out of breath after about 30 seconds. That is deceptively athletic right there, man.
All 5'7".
That's after losing 24 pounds right there. My daughter beat me by 1 second and pissed me off. But if you want to show the next photo, Joe, this is me trying to make my kids and my wife laugh.
God.
That's what introverts do.
Introverts.
Hey, the Oscars were last night. We have some of the big winners out there. Sinners is the one that got 4 awards. They were in danger of being skunked. One of the things I didn't like about the whole thing about the Oscars was they have to lobby like politicians to get these awards. It's not like who has the best movies, the best actor. They actually take it to the media. They do all these interviews and whatnot. They don't let the art speak for itself, but we did see a lot of big winners last night. Amy Madigan won for best supporting actress for the movie Weapons. K-pop Demon Hunter, Joe. I know you're familiar with that. Won best animated feature.
Yeah.
When it came to best casting, One Battle After Another, which also won best director, which also won best picture. Never heard of it. I know it's a Leonardo DiCaprio movie. But Joe, Sinners won 4 awards, including Michael B. Jordan for best actor. Mike, what are your thoughts on the movie Sinners? Have you seen that movie yet?
I have seen that movie. I thought it was a great movie. It's a different way to look at the past, and I know today's climate. It's difficult sometimes to look back and to see different perspectives, different points of views of prior events. But what better way than through the arts to take a look back, but also for it to be super creative in what was shown and just a different take. Different thoughts and to have some of the unexpected things that happen. For those that haven't seen the movie, won't go too deep into that side.
Yeah.
But to have some of the unexpected plot twists and just different things come out of the movie, and seeing culture from old time culture, but then today's culture kind of woven throughout the movie. I just thought it was excellent. So I did think it was a very good movie. I remember actually after watching it say it was a great movie, but it wasn't gonna win an Oscar. It's kind of funny for me to have said that and then watch everything that went down last night. But definitely thought it was a great movie. Definitely thought Michael B. Jordan did a great job of not playing just himself in a movie, but actually spinning some characters and doing a great job at it. I know a lot of people say he plays very similar roles sometimes. So to see him step out, play a little bit different, but still true to himself, you could still hear his voice throughout the character. I thought he did a great job.
I know Joe raved. You raved about that movie back when it first came out. You saw it before I did, Joe.
Yeah, I did. And you know what? I said that the movie was very good because it did a good job of kind of like incorporating music as part of its storyline. And I'm not going to ruin it for you, but if you go in there and you watch the film, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Because people go in thinking that, oh, it's just another stereotypical vampire movie kind of thing. But no, the way that they were able to incorporate music into the core of the storytelling was really, really nice. And it goes beyond just one genre of music. It kind of expands on music and how impactful it was into what we do today, you know, as far as our culture is concerned. It was really cool. I thought it was a really unique film. I enjoyed it.
I've seen the movie twice. I saw it at the theaters when it first came out, about a week after Joe did, and I saw it at home, like on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
You know, just renting it out. I liked it better at home than I did at the theater. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I saw it a second time and I got to appreciate it better. I liked it the first time. I loved it the second time. You know, I think it's one of those movies that you have to watch 3 or 4 times to kind of get the fine details of what's going on, or the turn of the phrase, or a look that was being made where it's like, oh, I didn't catch that first time for one reason or another. It wasn't a bad movie at the theaters. It won Best Original Score at the Oscars last night, which makes sense because it's a movie that has a lot of music influence involved in it. Michael B. Jordan was good. Haley Steinfeld was really good in it as as one of the love interests in the movies. The person who was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, Michael B. Jordan ran over to her after she lost and kind of like consoled her after a while. I don't know if you saw the video of Michael B. Jordan after the award ceremony. He took his Oscar to In-N-Out Burger, got an In-N-Out Burger #1. He put it down and says, "I'll take a #1, please. I'll take a double animal style."
Well, you know, Mike, they don't eat, dude, when they're there. I mean, they're at the award show and they're not handing out hors d'oeuvres or anything for them. I mean, and he just finished winning. That's his cheat. That was his cheat meal, Mike. His
cheat meal.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what? Michael B.
over
Jordan's great, man. He's
Yeah.
great. He was wonderful in the Creed movies as well.
He's having fun, man.
Chomping down. Look at him having fun. Sean Penn, meanwhile, was a no-show, but he won Best Supporting Actor. Of course he's a no-show. He hates Hollywood. That's very nice, man. I'm very, very, very proud of that. The Creed movies are great, man. They stand alone. You know, you talk to young people about the movie Creed or Rocky. They go, well, I don't know Rocky, but I know Creed.
Hey,
And it's
Sean
weird how
wants his video. Sean
Creed's
wants
a
his video.
standalone. Okay, you got it?
I did find it. I did find it, Sean. I did find it. Give me a minute here.
Okay, so Mike has to give a grade for this particular dance.
All right. There it is. That's Michelle doing the jackhammer. That's her dance. She calls the jackhammer.
I got to give it an 8. I got to keep the relationship strong.
We keep begging her to do this, right? Every time we get together at Jen and Alex's house and we're drinking, and she learned the jackhammer before I think it was the Super Bowl, and we kept telling her, Michelle, do the jackhammer. Michelle, no. And then when she gets enough drinks in her, then she'll do the jackhammer and everybody's laughing. And at this point, she doesn't care. She just wants to have a good time. So she does the jackhammer. It's fun. It's all good fun.
So it's been done more than once.
Oh, yeah. It's been done more than once. And every time she does it, we laugh. And she likes to make us laugh too. So she'll do it, you know, and we're just kicking back, looking at her, laughing, having a good time.
Very nice. The college basketball brackets are out, Joe. Are we going to do a bracketology for a bracket buster challenge for our listeners over here?
Yeah, I've been telling you, we got to go ahead and get that done, Mike. Got to do a bracket challenge of some kind. And we have to figure out what the prize will be this time. What are we going to be giving away as the prize for the person who will win the bracket? Because usually after that first round there, everybody's bracket is busted, man, because you can't factor in the upsets, you know?
And there's always
going to be some upsets.
Well, we always say there's always going to be upsets, but last year, if I'm not mistaken, there was nothing going on when it came to upsets. It was basically chalk. But right now, ESPN says that on their brackets, 26.3% are picking Duke to win it all, 18.7% are picking Arizona, and 14.6% are picking Michigan to win the national championship. I would like to see Houston go on a run because they have Kingston Flemings from San Antonio, from Brennan High School. I mean, think about how good Brennan's high school's basketball program is. Kingston Flemings leaves, graduates, goes to Houston, is going to be a top 5 pick in the NBA draft this June, and Brennan still made the state championship this year.
Yeah.
Talk about a great program. By the way, Brennan High School, one of my favorite places to referee high school basketball. I've done their varsity games, their JV games, and their freshman games over there. that coaching staff is so good at what they do, and it's about discipline over there.
No.
They have everybody on point. And one of the things I enjoyed when I don't know if it was Kingston that was doing it or not, because I would do their freshman games a few years ago and their JV games a few years ago. He would allow his players to talk trash up to a certain point. Like, don't be disrespectful, but talk your trash. It was like, you can talk about the play, but you can't talk about them, if that makes any sense whatsoever, Mike. Are you okay with a high school coach allowing a little bit of trash talking, a little bit of jawing out there?
Just what you said, right? Because you don't want things to go south, especially at the high school level. And if things become disrespectful, then things can get out of hand, right? And you don't want to see that. You don't want guys to go down that pattern. But I think keeping guys away from that element, if they've never been able to talk trash, when you get to that next level, if you have the opportunity to, then it could lend to a situation where it is going over the line a lot. So as long as you're talking about the play, you're talking to your players, you're talking to the referees, and it's all respectful, nobody's getting tossed out of the game. You're playing between the lines, letting that speak for you more than just your words, then I think it's okay. A level of that going with it, because it is part of the game. And you start learning that at an early age. You know, you're out with your friends outside playing basketball and you score on them, you say a little bit, right? So if you can keep it appropriate, I think it's part of the game. I wasn't a big talker because I think that it worked against my opponents when they were saying whatever they could think about to try to get me off my game. It's hard when nobody will talk back to you. So I used to love that. But I also definitely had respect for some of the good talkers on the court.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I gotta come out with an announcement right now, man. Hey, we're gonna have to end the show. I gotta go to an appointment that I have, and I've been called in to go ahead and make that appointment now. So we gotta end the show early. I gotta go in for my doctor's appointment ASAP.
Hey, no problem, man. No problem. Hey, if you see the light, step away from it, man. Don't go that far into the light. All right.
Yeah.
Hope everything's okay. Hey, thank you to Mike Mitchell Jr. for being part of today's show. Fantastic. You always do an amazing job over here. Again, you'd probably skunk me, man. I know it is. Thank you to PF Chang's La Cantera and Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio for sponsoring today's show. Spurs in action tonight, 9 o'clock. We'll be talking about it tomorrow. Again, back-to-back 9 o'clock games for the Spurs. Tonight against the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, game time decision. No Dylan Harper, no Luke Cornett tonight. We'll see how the Spurs do tonight. We'll be back tomorrow.
All right. We'll see you boys tomorrow. We're out. Peace.